we've made 2,000 hours of television. I mean, so, and I think what's also different about me is that coming into this business, I started by learning how to make the deals, and then I was like the guy who was able to go and create the projects for myself. Because my first show when I left was Sons of Hollywood, which I produced, created, and starred in. So like when you jump out of corporate, you got to like get all of the correct credits, and that's something that I had. So,
So when
we could talk about that. I mean,
technically,
Yeah.
we always jump in like
Yeah.
this because it's so much more organic.
Sure.
So consider this started.
sure.
When you say corporate, your start was in music. You first interned at a
Yes.
record label at Interscope.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Well, I started as an intern, and then my internship was like 4 months, and then they realized that I had a little bit more ability, and there was an opening to have a real position as an assistant in the A&R and music department of Interscope Records, which was, dealing with radio and dealing with artists. And coming into that department, it became a real job. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, now you're going to get paid. And then more and more responsibilities come onto you. So if you're an intern can turn into a career very quickly.
So now looking back, what do you think it was about you that kind of stood out and it ended up turning into a job instead of just an internship? What were you exceptional at?
I think my extra exceptionalism was that I was hungry and that I wanted to make it, and that I knew how to deal with people at very high levels, that you had to have a certain tact to deal with them. And when you're walking into a place like Interscope Records and Death Row Records, and they have huge artists, and you're kind of like a kid, you have to know when to talk, when not to talk, how to handle the tasks that they're asking you to do, handle it to the point that it gets done exactly the way it needs to get done, and then trust comes in. And when somebody trusts you, they're going to hand you more opportunities. And then when they trust you and the more opportunities get executed, you get more money.
No one's actually talked about that, but that's such a good point. Like, you have to know when to shut up. You have to know not to overstep your boundaries, but at the same time, like, you want to prove yourself. You don't want to be too loud, but you want to show what you're capable of doing. So what do you think you brought to the table at the time that your career kind of took off after that?
Well, I knew when to shut up, and I knew when to get the job done. And I think that it was the execution in whatever even menial task that it was. And we're talking about the baby stages of an entertainment career. I mean, to go from so I had dreams and goals. I wanted to be an A&R at a record company. I didn't even know really what that meant to be that person, but I became that person.
Why did you want it?
Because to me, that was like, oh my God, you're in the A&R department at Interscope Records, at Death Row Records. You're doing A&R for Eminem. You're doing A&R for Snoop and Tupac. I wanted that title. So the title meant so much because in my mind, I grew up reading books about people that had made it in the entertainment industry, especially in the music industry at that time. And those were the ones you were like, oh, well, they're president of A&R of this place, so we had to go get it. And then it takes you a while to figure out what A&R is. Artist and repertoire. So for those that don't know what that is, an A&R is really like the manager of the talent for the label. So they're dealing with the making of the record, dealing with the studio, dealing with all aspects of making sure the artist does their job for the label. So it's a very hands-on role. It's also the most coveted department to be in. And I worked hard to get into that department. Really, I was in the marketing and radio promotion, but I like jammed my way into dealing with the artists. So you sort of have to be a go-getter in every sense of the word. Once I accomplished that goal, I saw that it wasn't the brightest light in the tunnel. And it wasn't the best job in the world. And I already had the title, and I knew I could keep doing it. And then it was like, well, now I want to be an agent.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly was that moment? What was that epiphany? What were you thinking?
Okay. So just to like come back a little bit. So 15 years old, I started as an intern. 16, I'm hired on as a actual like employee of Interscope Records. 17, I'm still working at Interscope. I graduate high school. I get into USC. I'm going to start my business program there. I wanted to continue my job, but they didn't want me to stay unless I could be full time. So at the same time, they had they had a secondary company called Death Row Records. So Interscope and Death Row were in the same building.
Just a little label no one's ever
A
heard
little
of.
label, yeah, you've never heard of, and at this point, I was given the greatest opportunity of the start of my career, which was to go to college at USC and to also have a full-time job as an A&R working at Death Row Records. So I got the best of both worlds. So I just segued into that. So 18, 19, I'm at Death Row. 19, my friend meets Eminem. And
Whoa, hold on. We're getting there.
Okay, sorry.
Hold on. So first of all,
this isn't even the exciting stuff. Yeah, like this is like when I think about this stuff, I'm like, this is just the pathway to getting there. This is baby steps.
But I mean, you're a part of pop culture history. You've really been a part of some of the biggest moments. So, okay, walk me through your day-to-day at Death Row. What is it like, and what's your first kind of feeling of, I've achieved something major?
So, September 7th, 1996 it's actually my birthday that day. Tupac gets killed. Okay, so Tupac was a big part of our lives musically, culturally. I mean, still my favorite artist of all time. Still someone that I was blessed to have met couple times, somebody that was a very impactful artist in my world and in my psyche. I'm now at Death Row and he's now gone. So Death Row is a different company because Suga's in jail and the company is operating. It's the biggest record label in the world, but it's operating differently because the principals are gone. Dr. Dre's leaving. Snoop Dogg is about to leave. Tupac is dead, and the face of the label is in jail. So it's a different thing. So we basically have the label to ourselves, which is kind of crazy. So it's like, okay, so now I'm this white Jewish kid from Beverly Hills working and going to school and working at this label. So I had to do a lot of different things. I had to go, deal with the artists, deal with the banks, deal with the studios, deal with bringing, the music from place to place. Like they actually put in my hands a lot of trust for a kid dealing with very high level expensive stuff, because back then it wasn't digital. You didn't have digital songs that could be sent back and forth. They were reels, actual reels. So the master recordings of some of the biggest records you've ever heard, I dealt with getting from place to place for the work to be done on. Now I know that sounds kind of weird. It's like, you're sort of doing transportation in a weird way, but being an A&R, you got to come with the music. And I came with that music. So I had, the Machiavelli record. I had a lot of the post Tupac stuff, the post Snoop Dogg stuff after he had left the label. So I had stuff worth a lot of money. Like somebody could have jacked that, So I did a lot of interesting things. Like Suge made a lot of money. He made hundreds of millions of dollars. People don't understand that, like hundreds of millions of dollars. At that time, he owned his masters. So the amount of toys and cars and planes and houses and women and things and jewelry, all that stuff. So he's in jail. So all that stuff is out. People have to deal with that stuff. So I had to deal with like a lot of the cars and a lot of the banking. They had this very weird system. It was really kind of crazy. I don't know if I've really talked about it before, but okay. So in order to get paid in those days at Death Row Records while he was in jail, his sort of girl, or she was an artist, but also I think one of his girlfriends, Miss Chalet, a very famous singer, she had the stamp to approve any payments that needed to be made. So he would call in from jail and payroll and all the payments to artists and everything would be done. And then basically a check would be issued at the office, and then the checks had to be taken to Miss Chalet, who lived in like Westlake Village, and then she had to put the stamp on it. So it was like print checks, make the call, checks come out, checks have to go to Miss Chalet, stamp has to happen. And that had to happen a lot. I was in charge of making sure that the checks went to her, that she did the stamp, and then went out to the artist. It's a lot to deal with. Like I don't know if you think about that. Like there was no MapQuest back then. It wasn't maps on your phone. So like you're a kid. I'm just driving kind of for the first time, and I'm dealing with paying these artists that not only I love listening to their music, but now I'm like dealing with them and paying them for the label. It's not my money, it's his money, but the process in itself was wild. Now I'm a kid. I got the death row chain. You know, I got this like Lexus GS 400 on 22-inch rims with the Sista. You know, I was living the thing, and then going to college.
Who gave you the death row chain?
They did. Yeah, I mean, I was part of the team. So, I mean, there's more to it than that, but you know, I spent a lot of years there. It was 2.5 years I spent in that situation. It was wild. I never saw, it was not, I mean, it was crazy, but it wasn't, nobody was getting beat down. Nobody was getting extorted. Like all the stuff that you hear and read about, sure, that's like in the peripheral of the world, but the label operations were not that. I had a beautiful office. I was in there with some like wild people and some thugs and some crazy shit, but like I knew that's the world that I was in, and that's the music that we were talking about.
What do you feel like were your biggest life lessons from that particular experience?
I mean, looking back on it now, it's absolutely fucking crazy because like if you think about me as a kid in that era, working in that for what it is now, it's absolutely insane. So it's very dangerous in retrospect. At the time, it was the fucking coolest thing in the world. You couldn't tell me nothing. I'm David Weintraub. I work at Death Row Records. I'm 17, 18, 19 years old. I can do anything I want.
And at the same time, you grew up with other kids in the industry, right?
Yes.
Weren't your best friends Rod Stewart's son and Aaron Spelling's son?
Yes.
So you guys grew up together?
Yes.
Did you go to high school together?
Randy Spelling and I did. And then Sean Stewart became a dear friend of mine later in life. Yeah.
So was that kind of the first, is that when you got the first itch to get into the entertainment industry?
No, because I was already doing it. So like I was surrounded by those families, but I was already working in it, you know, so I had my foot in the door, and it's not like any of their parents gave me a job. They saw that I was a hardworking kid, and I came from a family of doctors and lawyers, so of course I wanted to make it. I was going to make it as an executive all the way to the top, no matter what I had to do, and I just started young enough that like by the time everybody was getting their first job, I already had credits for 3 jobs. So I had a little bit of a different thing. I mean, granted, Aaron Spelling, you know, was the greatest mentor that I have ever had in my career because he treated me like a son, and I saw what doing good work, being an originator, actually writing and creating your product and making your own like lane, he did that, and I always wanted to follow in his direction. Still to this day, there isn't a producer that's done in their career what Aaron did, and to be able to like, you know, have him a phone call away and spend 17 years of my life with him, it's a very long time. And I'm blessed that Randy was such a good friend to me and brother that he allowed, and me not having a dad, because my dad died when I was 3 years old. Me not having a father to share your dad and to let another person have the closeness that you have. I mean, it's, you know, to this day, I'm grateful for it, and all of the memories and all the things that I've learned to share that. So it's, you know, you have this very different world. You're talking about, okay, here on one hand, you're spending like nights and evenings and hanging out and being in the Spelling Manor, and then spending your day working for Suge Knight at Death Row Records. So think about the dichotomy of these mixing of worlds. It's really, it's insanity. So when I say looking back on it, there isn't anything like it. So, you know, forgive my jadedness, but you've seen a lot. You've seen it. So in my working now and in creating new shows or representing new people or representing my existing clients or creating, you know, brands with clients, people sometimes think that I speak negatively about deals and doing stuff, but it's only because I have 25 years of experience seeing this shit and like looking at it differently, whether you want to create a show, an album, a product, or you want a podcast, whatever it is, like the business is all the same. It's just a different product. So you got to ask the hard questions. You got to think both sides.
Who's called you negative?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people that pitch me ideas and I shoot them down very quickly. And a lot of people I've heard on the back end They call me a dream killer. Because people walk in my office and they want to pitch me their dream and this and that, and I just tell them why it's not going to work, or why they can't sell it, or why I don't want it, or why it's going to be very hard, or why you don't have these steps and these things to go and do that are going to make it happen. Just because I've seen it. Like it's a few and far between of 2% of people that have an idea that actually come up with it and make it happen. So I'm not trying to be a dream killer, but I also want you to be realistic. Like, if you don't have it, and maybe it'll make them go work harder.
Has it ever happened that you killed a dream and then somehow it ended up working out?
Yeah, actually it has. Yeah. There's some people that, like, they came in with a show idea and they were like, we want to do this, that, and I didn't want to do it, or I didn't do it, or I didn't do the deal. And maybe like 5 or 6 years later, something. This is like 2 or 3 cases. And it was very rare. But I think that I was so impactful on shutting it down that it made them work extra hard. And maybe they took the advice and then didn't bring it back to me. And that's okay though, because they won in the end, and that's all I wanted them to do. And timing is everything. You might have an idea for a project or a brand or a PR move or whatever, and it might not be the right timing. And then 4 years later, the timing happens, and that's the best time to go out and do it. And that's something that I think that only comes from experience. I mean, I have some projects that I did sizzles and pilots on maybe like 8 years ago. And then I pitched them then, nobody bought it. And then I was in the right room with the right network at the right buyer at the right time. And I showed them, they're like, what else do you have? And I played them something else and they bought it there on the spot. And then that becomes something.
So then, yeah, people don't have to get discouraged if their idea doesn't work out right away.
No.
Maybe down the line, it'll just be the
timing.
perfect storm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now back to death row.
Yeah.
You're exiting death row. Is that when you meet Eminem?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, I met Eminem while I was working at death row. My friend my friend Evan Bogart, who actually got me my internship at Interscope. So his father was Neil Bogart, very famous record producer, record company owner, mega guy. They made a wonderful film about him last year called Spinning Gold, his life story. He was like, this is not just a record company guy. This is like the biggest record company owner of that era, you know. This is his son. So we grew up together, and his son now is back at Interscope, and I'm at Death Row. And they're kind of, the companies are together, but they're not. So he calls me out of the blue one day, and he goes, I need to come see you. And I go, okay. I go, come on by. He comes by, and he goes, I got to play you this kid that I met that I'm about to sign. And I go, okay, wow. So he pops in this CD. Doesn't say anything. And like, I was used to like, let me hear this, let me hear that. He puts it on, and it's the eight song EP of it's called the Slim Shady EP, or is it the Marshall Mathers? No, the Slim Shady EP. That was the first original album. And we listened to the whole thing through and through, and I am like blown away. Now this is pre Dr. Dre because it hadn't signed yet. The album is unbelievable, like unbelievable. I can't believe it. So he then looks at me at the end, and I go, okay, so what's the story? Like, what are you doing? And I go, you're never gonna believe this. I go, what? He goes, he's white. And I go, no way. This is not possible. This guy's white. There's because at that time in rap, you hadn't heard that voice. So if you were rapping, you wouldn't know what somebody was or wasn't. I'm like, there's no way. It's like, no, he is. Okay, so I'm like, all right. So now Evan has a lot of years sober, okay, and he was in rehab before he was doing this job, and so he's now sober. He's like, hey, I need some help though, and this is why I'm actually here, and I'm working at Death Row Records. He's like, I need some weed for Eminem. So I was like, so it's like, yeah, his team, they all need some weed, and like, you know, we smoked a lot of weed back then. So I was like, all right, cool. So I'm like, let's go bring them some weed. So I go with Evan to the studio, and I meet Eminem, Paul Rosenberg, Mark and Jeff Bass, the entire crew. And I'm Dave Weintraub from Death Row Records. So Dave Weintraub from Death Row Records is walking in there with the flashy car and the fucking chain and the whole thing with Evan Bogart, who works at Interscope, and they're trying to make a deal. And David Weintraub had the weed at the time. So I brought them the weed, and we just became dear friends. And through that thing, they knew that I worked at Death Row, and they knew that I was connected. And then Evan wound up bringing me kind of more and more into the fold with the Eminem thing, and I wound up leaving Death Row to go work for him while I was, still in college.
To work for Eminem.
Yes.
And Evan Bogart is a songwriter at this time.
He's a songwriter too. Well, a hit songwriter, a mega songwriter. So Evan had a lot of different jobs. Like Evan and I grew up together. So honestly, Evan is really the guy of why I went into the record. If we had to go back even further, that's why I went into the record business, because of my friendship with him and the world that he lived in, with his parents being such big time people in the record business. That's what my desire to come into it was, definitely. And he shared with me and allowed me to do that and helped me do it and supported me. So we were always good. There was times when Evan was the manager and I was the agent, and then I became the agent and Evan was the manager, and we had clients. And what was weird is that a lot of the people that we had, he and I ultimately wound up becoming the bigger talents, because Evan went on to become this hit songwriter, and I, instead of like having the big client that we had, I wind up becoming the TV show creator and having my own shows. And so it was kind of like this ladder of learning and then coming out with your own projects. But Evan's the man.
So you leave Death Row to work with Eminem. Mm-hmm. What exactly are you doing?
So I'm doing like a little bit of like, so I'm helping to A&R the web entertainment side of it. So there's another company called Web Entertainment, which is the guys who originally had him signed. So I'm working for Mark and Jeff Bass at that time. And these are just great guys who own Eminem. So anytime you made a deal to have Eminem, you had to have them involved, because they actually owned him and the music. So I was doing the A&R stuff for them, and they just kind of brought me in, and then the album came out. It's a huge hit and monster hit. I mean, one of the biggest hits you've ever seen. And that then turns into me about to graduate college and wanting to, be a little bit more corporate now that I have this business degree. I wanted to go and like learn and really become, more of a suit and tie, a real stand-up, not playing. I wanted to go to the next level. So I wound up getting a job at William Morris Agency as an agent trainee in the music department. And that was a cool job. The agency wasn't built for what I was doing. I'd already done so much. And when you walk in there as an agent trainee, you're competing with all these other people that are like, have done nothing, and they're just coming out of college. And I sort of felt like I was beyond where I was there. So I stayed for about a year and a half, and then there was an opening at UTA, and I was able to go into UTA, go into the film department there, which is where I wanted to transform into. And I just made it. I just went, and I was promoted to agent after about 18 months. Signed Paris Hilton was my first client. We packaged A Simple Life, and then I was in. I was in.
You're saying so much cool shit. Like, yeah. I just want to backtrack and stop at every point. Yeah. So, backtracking to Eminem. First, I want to know, you start working with him. Dr. Dre's not in the picture yet.
Well, no, Dr. Dre was.
He was already in the picture.
Yeah.
So
I was on both sides. Like, there's two sides to it. There's Web Entertainment is Eminem. Interscope is Eminem, Dr. Dre is Eminem, and everybody has their own teams. I worked for Web Entertainment, which was the team that wrote and produced. The label he was originally signed to, when they signed him, they had to sign them to do it. They're the sound. All the original sound of Eminem, the biggest hits, go look at, you're going to see Mark and Jeff Bass on every Eminem song in the world.
So what's extra fascinating about this story is that this was completely new territory. We didn't have a white rapper that was really successful before. So what are the conversations happening in the room? How are you talking about?
Well, that was just a really good time back then. That was watching one of the greatest. I mean, I watched that album get made. I watched I watched the Slim Shady LP get made, and that was just like, it was mind blowing because every week you'd come in and another song was done, and it was like, fuck, this one's better than the last one, and it was crazy. He talks about me on one of the songs. There's a song, it's called My Fault. It's known as the Mushroom Song, and there's a song called My Fault, and he talks about Dave on that song, and I'm that Dave.
What's he saying?
Gotta go listen to the song.
Whoa.
It's about mushrooms.
I mean, your relationship did start with you bringing the weed,
I did
so
bring the weed
it's only
I did bring
appropriate,
the weed
right?
to them. It was a mind-blowing experience because I watched one of the greatest albums of all time getting made.
Are you feeling like it's going to be successful?
Yes, of course. I sat with Eminem in front of the House of Blues the week before the album came out, the first album. And I remember sitting in front before he did his show. And this is a very famous show, his first House of Blues show. And we knew the album was coming. The video was dropping in like 3 days. And he kind of said to me in front of the show, I was like, what's up? You excited? How you feeling right now? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I'll probably just be back in Detroit in like 3 months. We'll see what happens, blah, 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 blah. And I knew this album and lived through watching this album being made for the last 8 months. We knew it was going all the way. Do we know it was going to go to the level that it did? No, but that's the learning experience, that it went all the way. The biggest artist in the world, the biggest money in the game, the biggest of the big. So that when you learn from that and you're molded from that, it's different. So my brain is being molded with Aaron Spelling. My brain is being molded with Eminem. My brain is being molded with Suge Knight. My brain is being molded with my mom. I'm learning all these different worlds to then figure out what world am I going to fit into ultimately? Like who am I going to become? And that's the path.
And then getting your degree at USC, do you feel like that was important to your career?
At that time, and very important to my family, and very important for credibility and accomplishment. And the USC family has been nothing but like the most incredible alumni. I mean, SC's a major force.
So what do you feel like it gave you that you couldn't have learned just through experience? Because experience is definitely the biggest education you get.
Yeah. I think that, you had to prioritize, what people relied on you for. Like your school is relying on you to do the work, and you're relying on them to give you the degree. The job is relying on you to show up and to go do the work that needs to get done, and then you're relying on the money. So it teaches you that you have to prioritize responsibilities. I took on a lot of responsibilities, but I didn't look at it that way. I didn't think about it that way. It was kind of like, well, this is just what you're going to need to do. Mm-hmm. And I look at life now, being a dad and running a business and dealing with real estate and dealing with, relationships and all these things that you have to do with. You just do it. You don't think about it. And then one day you look back on it and you're like, how did you do all of those things? Because now you're making me think about what was really going on then. And it was complicated, but you didn't look at it like it was at that moment.
What are some of the challenges you're facing at the time? Are you just feeling headstrong, confident? Are you having imposter syndrome at any point?
I was an egomaniac.
You were?
Yeah, because I was the man. So my ego definitely was like, I was doing high-powered shit at a young age.
What was your first humbling experience?
Haven't had it. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
No. Look, your ego is the worst thing that you can have because your ego has got to get in check. You're only going to learn that through highs and lows, ups and downs, wins and fails, and all of those things. So your ego is an evolution of learning, and I definitely had a big ego. My ego only got bigger and bigger when I started to make TV shows because I was the creator, I was the producer, and I was the star of my shows, my first shows. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, well, you can't fuck with me, but that's a 26-year-old kid in that mind frame. So think about this, from 15 to 26, I had
winning.
4 careers.
Yeah.
I was
you're excelling at each of them.
I was an A&R. I was a I was, an agent, a manager, and then a TV show creator, producer, and the star of his own shows in 10 years.
Crazy.
So it's a lot to do at a young age. And this is a time, okay, this is pre-social media. Yes, go get on your phone. Go post your picture. This is different. Yeah. This is going and asking networks and big companies to give you $20 million. In the late 90s, early 2000s, it's a lot of money. Sons of Hollywood cost $20 million. Wow. My first show, $20 million I spent. So you got to think about what that is. Yes, you can become a star tomorrow with your phone and the right posts and this and that. It's different. There's less buyers. It's the audience was bigger. It was bigger, but it was smaller. It was you had to feed the beast. You had to feed the mainstream. You could only watch what you were watching on TV. You could only watch what you were watching in the theater. You didn't watch it on your phone. You watched it on DVD. You listened to it on a CD. So it's a different time.
Isn't it so crazy how much things have changed just in our lifetime?
Yes.
I mean, we really can go back to pre-internet. We're probably the only generation that could do that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, high school, and I think that there's the highs and lows and the goods and bad. I mean, look, the business has changed because money happens so much quicker and deals happen so much quicker and audiences are made and stars are made, but the talent pool is different. The talent is different. And like what you're seeing, I don't know if it's good or bad. You have so much information out there that you're retaining and so much that you can consume that it's just different, and it's scary at the same time.
Okay, so let's come to that after UTA.
Yeah.
You're there. You sign Paris Hilton and you sell her TV show?
Yes.
So tell me about that. First of all, how do you go from music to Paris Hilton?
Well, Paris was Randy Spelling's girlfriend growing up for many years. So we were all friends. And then I'm now this suit and tie agent at UTA, and I'm in the motion picture talent department, and I'm trying to come up. And I'm looking around me at people. So we had, like, UTA had did, like, the Osbournes. And the Osbournes was kind of like this benchmark of what the next phase of reality TV could be. And we were looking for the next people. And Paris was starting to pop in the paparazzi, in the world, in the magazine. Like, she had this, like, Vanity Fair article that was, like, about them. And then people just started to talk about them. And it's like, okay, well, we know them. Let's get them in. So me and a couple agents brought her in. And then the first deal that we did was A Simple Life.
So before she gets the deal, what are you guys doing leading up to that to make her extra?
Well, she was ready. I mean, she wanted it. So it wasn't like, it's not Paris of today that's like, okay, it's hard to make a deal. It's Paris of like, I'm hungry, I'm ready. Like, what do we got? Let's go. She's still the same person. Paris is the greatest. Like, Paris is the original of everything pop culture. There is no, there is no anything in reality really without what she's done for women, for brands, for empowerment, for creating your own lane. She's the original and the strongest one, made the most money first and opened the door. I mean, obviously Kim knows that Kim wouldn't be where she is without Paris, but everybody had to go and do their entire own lane. Paris just opened the door, the floodgates to this world. Now, okay, so growing up in being the business guy, in a world full of like sons and daughters of famous people, powerful people, actors, studio chiefs, musicians, whatever, I'm the guy sitting there who can make the deals. I know what shows are going on. I know what movies are going on, what tours are going on. People wanted to get in that world. And I made it young. So they already knew that I had the ability to get them the money and get them the deal. Now, Celebuspon's became a business. Those are the kids of famous or powerful people. And I was at the forefront and I signed all of them. So when you have them and Paris is your first one, you knew that there was going to be a business for other ones.
So let me ask you something as an insider. I would go as a kid to a lot of these reality panels where the creators of the Kardashian show and other popular reality TV shows would talk about how exactly these shows were bought and how they became successful. And one of the panelists said, well, the Kardashians pitched that show at least 3 times and were rejected 3 times. And then once the sex tape came out, then they agreed to buy the
I'm
show.
curious who said that.
I wish
Where
I could.
were you?
This was a panel. Let me tell you exactly how many years ago this was. This was about 16, 17 years ago.
Very old, very wrong information.
Is it wrong information?
Completely.
Oh, that's good to know.
Completely.
So tell me about your take on.
Well, I mean, I
how
know,
it
I know
worked.
my take because I mean, so I had Sons of Hollywood and had Sons of Hollywood gone on to be a big hit after the first 20 episodes. We were going to do Daughters, and Kim was going to be in Daughters, and Chris agreed to let her do it. Kim wanted to do it, and this was like the summer before Kardashians came out. So at the meeting when she decided that she would be a part of the show, if we did that show, they said, hey, well, we're also working on this little thing. Ryan Seacrest wants to do something with our family and da-da-da-da-da. We're like, cool, you can do that too, you know? And that became what the Kardashians was. And the Kardashians was a sizzle reel that was shot at a barbecue on a Sunday at the family house. And that sizzle then went through the channels at E, and they gave them the show with one camera and one crew as a tester for Buna Murray. So, like, did they pitch it 3 times? They did it. Of course, they were pitching a lot of shows that they all wanted to do because they saw other people make it. They saw Paris make it. They saw Laguna Beach in the Hills. They saw what was going on. They knew that there was an opportunity to do it. So, of course, they were pitching it. So the information is right, but it's not exactly right. And it's very adjacent because a lot of people weren't there.
So do you think
know?
the part that's not right is that the sex tape played a role in them buying the show?
Sex tape definitely, it didn't play a role in them buying the thing. It fast-tracked them getting visibility
Well, because
on
the
it.
PR. Yeah.
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 Well, I manage Ray J.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
That's right. Didn't you come to Bite Size with Ray J?
Yes.
About a decade ago?
Yeah.
When we last saw each other?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
And
still managing him
yeah.
now?
Ray's been with me 16 years. So what also is unique is that, you know, Scott Disick was in Sons of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And that's when he met Courtney during the shooting of our show.
Oh.
And then I managed Scott for 9 years.
So how did you meet all of these people?
Well, Courtney and Kim, we all went to private school in Beverly Hills, LA area, and all the private schools kind of all knew each other. You know, Brentwood, Crossroads, Marymount, Montclair Prep, you know, Campbell Hall, Buckley, all like everyone. Those were all the schools. Mm-hmm. We're all the same grade-ish, a grade 1 or 2 apart. And you know, back to Randy. Randy dated Kim for a minute. And then Courtney dated this guy that I went to high school with for a lot of years. So they were just always around. And then as like we're coming up, I mean, in business and growing, they're wanting to get into the game. Who's going to get them in the game? People that are in the game, because they're not in the game yet. So the game has to be opened up. The door has to be opened up. Now, Ray and Kim, you know, that's a whole podcast in itself. You know, they're the 2 smartest marketers in the game. After Paris, Ray and Kim learned everything from Paris. And they took what Paris did and they just amplified it. They amplified it in the biggest way possible. They followed what she did and they just did it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So what are your biggest takeaways from the things that they did right? Or actually, rather, from the things that you feel Paris did right that they were able to follow with after?
Well, I would say that Paris did everything right for her career, but Kim did everything righter.
Like what? What did she do
bigger,
better?
because she just like Kim was hungrier. Kim wasn't really fame. Like Paris grew up with a little bit more fame and a little bit more clout and a little bit more ability, a bigger name, a bigger thing. And Kim had a lot of the same, but Kim was really beautiful. Kim was really hungry. Kim just knew that she had to go and do it. She knew how to be with the right people, next to the right person, in the right picture, in the right video, in the right stuff, with the right people, having the right boyfriend like Ray J, having Ray J knowing how to do it, how to amplify her. She was down, he was down. They knew what they were doing. It's just different. It's a different thing. You also have to have Chris, you know, because without Chris doing what Chris did, you know, she amplified it in a lot of ways too, because she's a bossy woman. She's a businesswoman. She knows what's what. And I sat with Chris, I told you, and Kim at the L'Hermitage Hotel 2 weeks before Sons of Hollywood came out in 2006, when she told me that Kim and her, they would do Daughters of Hollywood if we decided to do that as a spinoff. Okay, cool. Chris was ready to go. Let's get the family in. Let's get everyone in. Like, they were ready then. This is a year and a half before the Kardashian show comes out. Mm-hmm. My show's on the air. I'm on TV. My show's the big show. So it's like it's a weird thing to see the growth, but to see that like there's a path leading up to it. You know, Ray and Kim are geniuses. And Chris is a genius too.
So if you had to teach strategy to any up-and-coming entertainer or reality star, potential reality star, or an influencer who wants to follow in similar footsteps, what would you say were like the key elements in strategy that helped to just catapult it to a completely different level?
Well, a lot of this stuff, you know, we talk about in my digital book, The Hollywood Handbook. And it's how to get into non-scripted TV, how to get into influence, how to get into building tours, building brands. It's kind of like a stepping into the entertainment business how-to guide. And that's what the Hollywood Handbook is. So if you want to learn about it, really learn about it key by key, go and get the Hollywood Handbook, HollywoodHandbook.com. You can get it, be a part of our world. You'll learn a lot about it. But I would say that the key elements are, you're talking about a couple different businesses. Influencing is one business. Mm-hmm. Making TV show and film is one thing. And creating tours and creating brands is a whole other thing. But I would say the most important thing is your content has to be unique. You have to be unique. You have to have an extreme point of view. And you have to have the desire to fight the highs and lows to getting in there. And you got to put in the time. It's going to take you at least 20,000 hours of doing something over and over again repetitively before you can actually make it or make money off of it or get it seen or whatever. There are flukes. Yes, there are people that like were in the right place and the right thing happened and they became famous overnight and then they have a business. It's very few and far between. So talent is the most important thing. And I would say have good people that you're talking to and listening to that have already done it. Like I always like to say to people, like, you got to go around the block. Like, until you went around the block, you're not going to do it. And I said, well, going around the block means like living through 2 or 3 years of the highs and lows of any project that you want to do. Did you make it? Did you do it? Did it happen? Like did the first deal happen? The second deal came in and then it came out and everyone loved it and then they hated it and then they loved it. It's like there's so many different variables, and that's going around the block. So get your ass around the block.
By the way, wasn't that one of the interesting things about Kim's success, that she was technically on a reality TV show, but that was also the start of kind of social media influencing. So she spearheaded both simultaneously.
True. Yeah. I don't know if that was, I mean, social was, I don't know that she started. I mean, I guess you could say she was one of the people in that world, but I think that social was a product of those shows. Like what social media became was everybody wanted to become a reality star from watching The Simple Life, The Hills, Laguna Beach, The Housewives, The Kardashians, whatever that may be. Social media gave you the ability to be your own reality star quicker. And that's really what it is. You're your own reality star in your phone, in your own image. And you can cut it, produce it, distribute it. And then guess what? They figured out how to monetize it. How do you monetize it? So, even like with, like I manage Tana Mongeau and like, She's a huge influencer.
So how do you monetize it? Let's get into that.
Well, monetizing social media is a set of relationships and having the correct clients and aligning relationships with clients. So if you have the correct clients and you have the ability to bring them deals and you have the ability to help guide their career and you have the correct buyers that want to pay them and you're linking the two together, that's how you monetize social media. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody has relationships. Not everybody knows how to make the deals. Not everybody knows how to go get the job. Not everybody has the clients. You got to have it all. I didn't get here. This is 25 fucking years. Like, I didn't just get here.
When did you start doing brand deals?
Well, brand deals, I mean, like brand deals in the sense of like social media, like we've been doing it since day one, but like brand deals is integrations. So what brand deals are, we've been doing for years with reality shows, because a brand deal is an integration into a product or into a person where they're holding a product, talking about a product, displaying a product, there's a lot of ways to do it. So we've been doing that for a long time with TV shows. Now it's just you're doing it with people.
Can you describe the difference and what some of the best kind of experiences were for you integrating the two?
I mean, look, you can think about like we can go way back. Like I remember we had like Pure One Imports was like the brand integration for Sons of Hollywood. They decked out the entire house. They paid us money. You had all their products in the house. We did a commercial for them. That was a trade out. That was like, here's $200,000 worth of furniture. We're gonna pay you guys each $20,000. You're gonna have a commercial. That's an original trade out that I did. That was like and I was the example of the trade out. You just do bigger and bigger versions of that. So whether you're bringing it to your network and you're integrating a drink into your thing, that's a brand deal. But now you as a person have the ability to do it. So you have influencers that are getting calls from brands and people are paying you to go do it, whether it's, Rockstar Energy drink or it's Dom Perignon or it's Cartier. I mean, there's so many different levels. It's funny you say that because I was on the phone yesterday with a emerging brand that I found. They're a jewelry brand and they have like 5 stores right now. And they wanted to book a really big influencer to do something. And I was like, look, you could either do this brand deal with us, pay up. Excuse me. Let me catch my breath. You can either pay us $50,000 to show up for one day and do 2 posts. Or we can be a part of whatever you're doing that day and you could pay us 80% of what you make that day and you could take 20%. So you're like, and they couldn't really fathom how to do the deal because they hadn't done it yet. I'm like, look, either way, you're going to have to reinvest back into your company. And like the eyeballs my talent's going to bring to the table is larger than any audience you've ever had. So that's why we're going to get that. So do you want to take the risk and see if you're going to make a little bit more money? Or do you just want to be safe and pay the fee and do the marketing and do it? So you got to kind of like teach people what the potential is, because think about all the big brands that are out there. They have a formula. Look at Rich, who owns Fashion Nova. The formula that this guy has for clothing and influencing is like nothing you've ever seen. The algorithm that they have, the monetization that they have, the backend they have. This is one of the smartest people in all of fashion.
Can you explain it in a couple of words so the viewers can know
it's
what
hard
was
to
so...
explain because they invented the book on social media clothing marketing. That's what Rich did. Rich is the greatest marketer of clothing in pop culture in the current state, the smartest guy. And that is why he is so successful, because he literally figured out the formula to translate posts and people at the right time with your clothes and the link and selling the right product with the right margins at the right moment.
Did you work on those deals?
I've done some deals with Fashion Nova, but like I'm more of a fan of like what his abilities are. Like he's just an amazing, smart guy, and look at what he's accomplished. So people copy that formula. They're all copying the formula that he did. Now, it's not hard to copy because if you have money and you have a brand, you can go do it. But like that's the innovator right there. That's the innovator of social media marketing.
You've done deals with Kylie Jenner as well, right?
Yeah, well, in the deals that I've done with Kardashians and Jenners and those guys is that I have companies that I represent, and then they'll do a post for them.
So do you feel like these social media posts actually translate into sales?
Depends on who the person is, depends on the product, depends on what their brand is, but Most of the time, yeah.
Do you
If
feel
you
like
have the
one
right,
post does that, or do you feel like there need to be a few consecutive
it
posts?
depends on every product's different. I don't know. That's a loaded question because you can't analyze it like that. You have to look at the product. You have to look at what their goal is. You have to look at their budget, what their reach is. Is it a story? Is it a TikTok? Is it a hard post? Is it a tweet? Is it a Facebook? Is it like a Snapchat? Each market has a different demo and a different price.
Okay. So you started working behind the scenes, and then at some point you decided you want to be in front of the camera. Was that a conscious choice because you felt like it's important to be your own brand?
I guess back then, yeah, it was because I knew the potential of where it could go, but I also witnessed people becoming stars. And the thing that was really interesting about my start, because I've had like three different inclinations of my on-camera appearance. You know, I did all my episodes of Sons of Hollywood, and created, produced, and starred in that show. And then the following year, I helped co-create and develop Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, and then we did 10 seasons, 3 spinoffs of that, my first number one. And then I came back when I produced and starred in Hollywood Hillbillies, and we did 70 episodes of that. So I've had a couple different on-camera experiences. I knew that like part of me being on camera was going to help my brand, but people liked that I knew what I was talking about, and I knew how to tell the story. I knew how to get a story from A to B to C as a narrator and explain it in a way, because I was kind of the teacher of it. I would say that the interest in me originally was that Entourage was becoming a big hit, and we were like the real Entourage, and like that was the life that we were living, and I had that personality. But that was a real thing. Like that, I wasn't any different. The guy I am here sitting today, I might be a little bit more. I hope you're gonna think I'm down to earth, but I'm a little bit different. But I have calmed down. Like I was very over. I'm still over the top, but I was very over the top then.
So the paparazzi was after you. You were all over the tabloids.
Yeah.
At that point, are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
And
This
then
is not was fucking lying. It's once you hit the next level that like it's annoying and it's fucked up and they're stalking you. It's like when it's fun and you're like in the game and you're in the magazines and you're in the articles and things are happening. Yeah, who's not gonna say it's fun? Visibility was fun, you know?
so when do you start calming down, and why?
Highs and lows, because I always like to say we walked into Sons of Hollywood and the $20 million TV deal and a big show and billboards everywhere and commercials everywhere and a great show, thinking that we were going to be on that show for like 10 years. And we were only really on for like 2. So that's a big thing to have to digest. What are you going to do next? What's happening next? What are you doing? You're only as relevant as your next project. So
what are you thinking at that time?
what's our next project? What's our next deal?
Are
What's our
you
next thing?
less confident about it?
No, because I had so much confidence because that show, like in spirit with the billboards and the commercials and the amount of attention that was on it. And also we shot it for a year. So like a year of shooting that show before the year that it comes out, you're already in the game. Everywhere you go, you have this like it's not today. Everybody has a camera today. Like when we moved around like a fucking movie. Everywhere we went, it was a big deal. And that was back. TV shows today are more like soap operas. So it's like, okay, you and I know that we're gonna come in and we're gonna do reality and we're gonna talk about these things and they're gonna produce it. The producers know what needs to happen and we're going to get there. Back then, when we were making these shows, it was a documentary, 24 hours a day being shot. You wake up in the middle of the night, there's a fucking camera in your face. And I lived with my 2 best friends in a fucking mansion in the Hollywood Hills at a time when it was wild for almost a year shooting a TV show. It was wild. And working, I had a job. I was actually doing my job. Working and shooting a TV show and living with my friends. It was wild.
So in retrospect, What worked and what didn't? Why wasn't it on for 10 years like you thought?
Okay, so I actually know the answer to that. What we realized at that time is that we went with a network that had a lot of money and was a big reality network, but did not have an audience that would actually relate to kind of like three rich kids like living this fabulous life in LA, and like that wasn't the audience organically watching that network. And that was a trial and error thing. So that's why they dumped a lot of money into the show and into the ability of trying to make it. Had we had gone with other places that wanted to do the show like E or MTV or CW or any of these other places that wanted it, it may have been on longer. We went with the money, and we went with the place that was going to let us have the biggest marketing budget and the biggest vision to allow us to do the show. I guess a mistake in retrospect. I don't think it was a mistake. It was just what it was. I'm very proud of that show. It got me in the game. So, that's a learning lesson. So you do that. So now when like a buyer's like, oh, I want to buy a show, I look at their network and I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's make sure it's the right place, But there's a huge consolidation now because every network is like there's like 5 because they're all consolidated, Peacock, Max, Netflix, Hulu, like they're all big conglomerates, Paramount. So you used to be able to pitch to like 20 networks. Now you pitch to one and they buy for everybody.
So then after this show, what is your next step?
Well, while I was doing that show, we started to make the deal once it came out for Celebrity Rehab. And then Celebrity Rehab.
I mean, that was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah.
How did you get the idea for that show?
So it wasn't me that had the idea. I was like one of 4 people that was involved in the development of the shows. Dr. Drew, John Irwin, this guy Damian Sullivan, they were all like toying with like doing something. And one person had a deal with the networks, and one person had a production company, and one person put Dr. Drew together, and I had all the people. Mm-hmm. So we all came together and started just doing it.
And then after that?
It was a monster. It was like a fucking monster. It was.
Yeah.
We did season after season after season, spin-off after spin-off. It was like it didn't stop for like 10 years. It was crazy. It's wild. But that's what I'm saying. So like, okay, so here, but also, and that's me coming off of being the star of my own show and the producer. So my ego's up. So now I have another show that I'm not in, even though I was in a little bit of it with crazy clients. You'll see me time to time. So my ego was up because I was like, well, I am this, and this, and I'm the star, producer, creator. And here I am now like as a kind of a producer and a booker and a developer. I'm doing a different job. You know what I mean? So your ego starts to, your ego is different, but the money was crazy because that was like the first like really big money in reality TV, especially for my management company, because we had about like 100 people that did that show. We did probably like 80 of 100 deals.
Wow.
So it was big.
So what happens between that and like now releasing a feature film, writing your book?
I mean, we, after that, I ran some production companies. I signed Too Short. I signed Ray J. I managed Scott Disick. I've had every. These are just the big names that people should know. I've had all the housewives, all the 90 Day Fiancés, the Hills in Laguna Beach, all the kids. Like I had everybody at some point. So rappers are in my office, singers are in my office, pop culture celebrities are in my office, controversial celebrities are in my office. I'm doing deals for everyone. But like Ray J and I had a really big run in TV. I mean, we've done, 700 hours of television. All of his shows, he and I produced and created together.
I heard you mentioning that Ray J makes like an insane amount of money per episode.
He does.
What is that figure?
It's 6 figures. It's very good. Really, really nice money. It took a long time to get him there, but he got there.
Per episode?
Yeah.
So when you say it took a long time to get him there, what does that mean?
We started like in the 50s and 60s, and then, we're in the high.
So how exactly
highs.
Are you building that? Are you doing
years and being reliant on that when our talent shows up, that they are actually the guys making the scenes, and then that becomes the press for the show. And that's just an organic thing. There's few people that can do it. Paris is going to do it. Kim is going to do it. Ray's going to do it, because those are like the original people that got all the fucking press. Mm-hmm. They invented that game.
So, is everything you're doing basically just based on really good strategy to amplify everything that's kind of there and to make it that much bigger? Like, are
Well,
you strategizing how to grow each brand and that's where kind of your
you could
genius is?
strategize all you want, but like unless you have the people and the relationships and the day-to-day operations to go and make those moves, it's not going to happen. So
But it feels like you have this.
strategy is part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But like we could put strategy on a board all day long. It doesn't mean it's going
Well,
to
yeah,
happen.
for sure.
So like
But like you know
strategy
how to
is
put
part
the
of it.
right people together,
Yes.
and also
Yes.
you kind of have just this vision for what will work best for each type of
Yes.
celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that just creative instinct?
It's just years of experience and seeing highs and lows and
Yeah.
what works and what doesn't. And like, we work in a world that's like, I have my hands in different stuff. My hand is in hip hop. My hand is in rock. My hand is in influencing. My hand is in producing and creating. My hand is in brand deals. My hand is in real estate. I have a lot of different things. So diversification, but I know at the same time, like I didn't stay at UTA and stay as a suit and tie and live there and let them take all the credit for what I was doing. I wanted to be a visionary. I wanted to be my own person. I wanted you to look and know that it's my brand. Whether you know it's my brand or don't know it's my brand, it is my brand. And a lot of people that you watch on TV are only on TV or in that game because I put them there. And I know that is like a big thing to say, but ask around, you know?
So what's on your bucket list now with everything that you've achieved? What are you still looking to accomplish?
I mean, we had a great year. Freaky Tales came out with Pedro Pascal and Tom Hanks and Angus Cloud, and Too Short, my client, and that was a great movie. It was wonderful to be an executive producer on that and help shepherd that movie and get it made. Lucky to work with Fleck and Bowden, the greatest writers, directors who brought us this project, and going to Sundance and performing at Sundance and selling the movie to Lionsgate and having the movie come out. It's like it's really a wonderful thing to be a part of. I want to do more and more bigger features, bigger documentaries. We did the Peacock documentary, House of Kardashians last year, which did really well. And we're going to do more and more in that space, but really just expanding. I want more and more influencers to manage. I want more and more artists that want to tour. I want to just keep growing the existing brand and creating products and creating businesses that will work for talent that like I can be proud of.
So what was your experience with this movie? Is this the first feature that you
No, I've
did?
made a couple other independent films, so this is the first big budget movie.
Oh, okay. So from all you've had your hands full with so many different careers, what's your favorite so far that
Being a
you
dad.
personally enjoy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Being a dad to my daughter Stevie. She's gonna be 9 this year. This is all fun and this is all cool. Like the business is great, and and you'll learn and you can do so much. But life is not just that. Life is like a whole other thing that you got to enjoy because work is work. And
How
like,
have you changed being a dad?
oh, everything. My whole life purpose is her. I mean, she's my greatest gift. She's my greatest show, my greatest project, and I'm excited to see her learn and figure out what she wants to be and helping her to achieve those goals. So I care probably more about that because at the end of the day, all of this can come and go, but that's going to be the most important thing. So that's the greatest project that I've done.
What's your personal feeling about the entertainment industry when it comes to your own child whom you want to protect and make sure that she's not exposed to anything
She's
toxic?
grown up in it already, and she's grown up in it in a weird way because like she's been on tour with us with our rappers and like all Too Short's kids and Ray J's kids and Stevie, my daughter, they're all friends. So like there's this weird little world of like celebrity kids and industry kids that are all friends already. They don't know what we do. I mean, we like they do and they don't, because they're like, oh, well, dad's show and dad's concert and dad's, brand and dad's like they know this stuff, but they want to do their own thing. So it's interesting to see because I know I was so fascinated with it, but that's because my parents weren't in it. So it must be different. They're like, oh my God, like this is just normal shit.
Yeah. Is there anything that you were chasing at the start of your career that just doesn't interest you anymore?
Yeah, I mean, being an A&R, like, I don't like that job to me was lame and boring and doesn't compare to what I do now.
You like being more
It's cool. It's a great job. I'm not dissing an A&R guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be like that's fine, but it's like there's bigger things. There's bigger things that I want to do. Entertainment is not everything. My goals are much bigger than being in the entertainment business. Like I'm working on those goals now.
elaborate.
I mean, I don't know that I'm ready to elaborate on them because I have some projects in the works that are more in like the food and retail space, in the real estate space, that have nothing to do with this, that are really the products and projects that I want to do because of the fruits of the entertainment business that I've been lucky to translate those into other businesses. And that's what I want to do. So I think that my story will still evolve. Now, I can still do your TV show, do your management, do your PR, do your brand deal. You can go read the Hollywood Handbook. You can go learn from the Hollywood Handbook. But like, I want to not always be known just for that.
People are divided when it comes to the whole fake it till you make it saying. Do you feel like it's a good thing to fake it till you make it, or are you just like an imposter if you feel like you have to fake it? What's your take on that whole?
Fake it till you make it is the game that everybody has played now to make it in pop culture, mainstream social media, reality TV, even music, even film. Because yes, you can go to acting school. Yes, you can go to film school. Yes, you can go and learn how to be a singer your whole life. But like the fake it till you make it is kind of like the marketing that you're doing to get visibility. And a lot of people did it and a lot of people won. And people that have won and really did it, they won big. So is it a bad thing? I don't know. It depends on what your definition is for that product. But I would say in my business, in pop culture representation and producing and marketing, fake it till you make it has become a mega fucking business. And that's okay. And it's only bigger and bigger. And even with the establishment of paywall apps, like the biggest one in the world, which we all know what that is, OnlyFans, that's the biggest fake it till you make it game in the world. Because you're faking it till you made it, but you made it quick and you made it fast and you're making money. And you have to remember, like, who would have thought that the ability to make money on YouTube or on OnlyFans or on Instagram or whatever it might be can happen so quickly with the right look, the right style, the right project, the right personality, or the right moment.
You don't have to name any names, but what's like an example of a fake it till you make it situation where you've seen somebody is totally not what they represent, but they actually become that thing?
I mean, I'll name them right fucking here right now. And I was their manager and I fucking put them in the room. And it's Scott Disick is by far the biggest fake it till you make it person in the world. He lived on my fucking couch. We introduced him to Courtney. I did all of his first deals. He moved to LA with no watch, no clothes, no nothing. And he hung on to Sons of Hollywood and then somehow got his way into the Kardashians through knowing us, me and Sean. And, you know, he faked it till he made it. And he made it big. And he did it big. And he's done it big. And he continues to do it big. And there's nothing wrong with that. He fucked his way up and in and got the thing and the business and made the money. And he's there. So congrats, Scott. I mean, that's my friend of a long time. Not really my friend anymore because I'm talking about him like this. I don't really give a fuck. But faking it till you make it, you learned from us and you're where you're at. And that's okay. It's okay to do that because I'm a door opener. But just remember, I'm a door opener. And I can also close those doors.
So is that a part of a good strategy, you think, for up and coming?
It's not a strategy. It's just like there's people that like that's all they do. There's people that know how to be around the right people, and like the right people are going to open the door. It's been going on for centuries and decades and years and this and that. You know what I mean? Like
I think there once upon a time called clout chasers.
I mean, that's a new version of that. Some say charlatan, some say social climber, some say, you know what I mean? Some say behind the scenes, genies, whatever it might be. But look, people are doing it. Like that's the game. That's the game. I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking Scott. I love Scott. Like I wish that he and I could be cool once again, because he was once a client and one of my best friends, but he's warped in his brain. He forgot where he came from. And once you get to those levels, you got to remember, like, we're all equal. I was doing it at a whole other level before you even saw it. You learn everything they learn, his style, the suits, everything. That's me. You did me. Like, I'm not a hater. Go be you. It's okay. I'm going to be me. I'm happy. I got my whole world. You know what I mean? The thing that's interesting about the fake it till you make it is when you see it happening, it's so obvious and so clear. But it's nice that if the people that did make it, you can still sit back and laugh about it right now. Because I do have clients that are like really famous and have done some weird things to get their fame. And we can sit and be real about it and laugh about it. Scott can't do that. Scott actually thinks he has like some talent or did it, but is being around other people that are smart and creative and open doors.
Was there a falling out that happened?
There was no falling out. I just did a lot of deals for him that he backdoored on, and that he's not a good business person. Mm-hmm. He let drugs, alcohol, lifestyle, and ego get in the way of, like, when we open doors and we do deals and we put you in positions of power and plays, you don't fuck the people that do it, because, like, I'm the puppet master and you're the star. It's a different thing. He just did some not good business things, made us look bad with a lot of networks and buyers on deals that he fucked up and things that he did, and then he's just not a trustworthy person. So that being said, it's like you just look at it differently. And I think that, look, it was complicated. There was a period of time when I was managing Ray J and Scott Disick at the same time. It's hard to be in both worlds at the same time, but we have a history of, like, knowing Ray and the Kardashians and Paris and all of them since I'm 15 years old. So I don't really give a fuck. My career is going to do it. I don't work for any of you. Mm-hmm. I work for my clients and I work for myself. So no one's going to tell me how to run it.
Mm-hmm. And then you just said that you did the Kardashian documentary, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And you can go watch that on Peacock, and you'll see that we talk more and more about all of these subjects. We didn't even get to Scott in that documentary. That documentary, really, we're only really more talking about Kim and Ray and their rise. I mean, we're doing our own documentary about all of them. Mm-hmm. Like, this, what we're talking about here is just a little peek taste into what it really is. Because when you go and look at the list of all the people that we've managed, done deals for, helped raise their PR profile, did press for, did brand deals for, from influencing music, agencies, all the different worlds, it's really loud. So we're going to break them down much differently. And I will give you the special sauce. But today's just a taste, like, you do a little digging, you'll see, like, we're there.
So did I miss the part where you said how Scott Disick came into the picture at all? Like, how did he end up?
Okay, so Scott.
How did he end up on your couch?
Scott wound up on my couch because he was Sean Stewart. Mm-hmm. Me and Randy Spelling and Sean Stewart were the stars of Sons of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I created it and produced it, and I brought my two best friends in to star in the show with me. Sean's good friend that he knows from New York is Scott. Scott he met partying out there. Scott knew how to take him to parties. Scott social climbed on Sean Stewart. And he then jammed his way into coming to LA when we did the show and wind up living on our couch. And during the shooting of Sons of Hollywood, which took a year to shoot that show, the Kardashians came and hung out with us, and that's when Scott met them. And then a year later, they shoot their show, and he's the boyfriend to Courtney, and then he winds up in the show. Now he does the show for the first season for free. Now the show is starting to make some noise. Somebody needs to come in to help him do his deals. Here's my friend, David Weintraub, the manager, who's going to do the deal. And that's how it all started.
So you've seen all these people make it from a time where nobody knew them to like superstardom.
Yes.
Now, when you're managing talent, are there certain traits that you're looking for where, like, in order for you to want to work with them, where you're like, you know what, this person doesn't even maybe believe in themselves that much, but I know what I can do for their career and I could put it all together?
I mean, I think now it's more of a numbers game because now I'm looking at people as talent mixed with numbers, mixed with social, mixed with experience, and like how much time do we have to, invest into it, and is it going to work? Like you can kind of know. I'm not really developing like I will develop somebody that has no fans, no visibility, no nothing, but I'm really more picking up clients that already are in the game and that need to like refresh or rise even further because it's a track record. I can only do so much with my time. Like I said, the important thing about in my life is being a dad, and like, yes, I want to work half my life, but I want to be a dad the other half of my life. So I don't want to, I can't do it all. I'm only,
There's such a fake it till you make it with those numbers too, though. Are you able to actually vet these numbers?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
Yeah. Numbers are easy to identify because I know how people can fake it, and I know real ones. I know and I know interact. I mean, we have a whole back end.
I have seen
algorithm.
someone fake it to the point of saying that they have 500 million views a month when like literally just their mom and dad were watching the content. And then it ended up really making it huge.
Yeah.
So it's just, it is one of the fake it till you make it, but it's not fair for people who don't buy their views and stuff.
I think that being outspoken and explain and teaching and being your own, mind of like explaining stuff and seeing a world that you've never seen before, that's where people want to go watch it. Whatever people are going to take away from this interview, they might say, hey, he's a know-it-all, he's a name dropper, he's this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care what you're going to say because like I live this shit and I have the fruits of it. And my life, when I go home and lay down at night, I know everything that I've done, and the people that we're talking about, they know what they've done, and we know what we've done, and we know what we've done with them.
It's so wild. Yesterday when we were catching up, I was thinking the whole time that the first time that we met was at Bite Size TV, and then you reminded me we met at a club through mutual friends. That was such a fun time for clubbing in LA. Were we at Ledoux?
Probably.
See, I don't know. Is it like just too much time has passed and we're at different stages in our lives? Or is it that the nightlife is just not what it used to be in LA?
It just sucks here.
It does, right?
Sucks, yeah.
But it's changed. It was so fun at the time.
It was. It's just different. People are different. LA's a different place now. It's evolved.
I miss the old LA. It was a good
maybe
time.
It'll come back, or maybe you just go and old LA is in Miami now.
I know, right? Well, it was really great catching up with you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Congrats on everything.
Thank you. We're not going to take another decade gap this time.
Not.
Yeah,
no,
so we're
here.
going to stay in touch.
We're here.
Well, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks. A huge thanks to Torpedo Comics and Essentia Beauty Spa for helping to make this podcast possible. You've probably seen Torpedo Comics in your local malls, but you can also visit them online at torpedocomics.com for an amazing selection of comics and collectibles. As for Essentia Beauty Spa, their beauty experts are truly unparalleled. I trust Diana, the founder, with all of my hair needs. She's simply the best. For more information, visit essentiabeautyspa.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Your support helps this channel grow, allowing us to bring you even more engaging and high-quality content. You can also follow us across all social media platforms.